The module's time strategies and pitch strategies are about building longer units of music using basic generation and variation techniques described in the modules called time structures and pitch structures. I've produced 3 very simple examples, each with a different approach in mind. There's also a 4th example which shows how basic symmetry and variation technique underpin the Anlo Ewe rhythm of West African origin and how I've adapted it to create a long sequence with a number of extra parts imposed on the original African pattern. Each example starts from a very simple pattern and grows it, as it were, to form what might be called mid-range units of composition. For example 1, I began from an intuitive fragment of rhythm and melody that was meant to be slow and lyrical. This seed, 1-2-4-1, is modified and elaborated using frogs and then woven through various parts, creating echoes and cross-currents. As the progress of most music involves acceleration through subdivision, a process used to neutralize the strong features of a theme. Schoenberg calls this liquidation. I followed this course with my seed, which is subdivided until its durations are regular and equal. You can see this in bar 4. Apart from the permutation techniques, various scaling techniques, such as those associated with distributive powers, are used to render the horn part. So overall, the original seed accompanies itself in many voices throughout the entire phrase. I call example 2 the nearly random number because the rhythmic pattern emerged from my telephone number. Using phone numbers as a basis for music was a favourite trick with Schillinger. He used numbers to generate melodic patterns while I'm using it to create rhythm. Either way, the point is that the number was imposed on me in an arbitrary way, and I've had to generate some musical interest from it, rather than beginning with my musical imagination and applying techniques thereafter, as with the first example. The starting point was the bassline pattern, 2-4-1-3-6, and this is echoed by the piano at half the speed in bar 5, and then as a third voice the piano left hand is given a variant. A fourth voice enters, the pizzicato violin, which takes on yet another variant of the pattern. Example 3 uses the simplest pulse interference rhythm 3-2 as its rhythmic backbone. The pattern undergoes minimal variation, a little rhythmic displacement, and the technique called instrumental forms, the distribution of attacks of the pattern through the instrumental parts and registers. Example 4 is a development from a well-documented West African rhythm played by the Unlo-Ewe tribe. The rhythm itself comes about when two players create pulse interference. When one of the pulse streams is displaced, so the final resultant rhythm is displaced or rotated in Schillinger's terms. This basic pattern has various versions, some with 5 attack points, others with 3. I've taken the numbers and used various Schillinger rhythm techniques to create a medium-length phrase for a band. In particular, the use of power techniques applied to the meter of 12/8 accounts for the final 12-bar bar group.